In 1939, Europe faced a military force unlike any seen before. The German army combined innovative tactics, advanced technology, and a unique command structure to create a formidable fighting force. In this video, we'll break down how they achieved this and why it ultimately was not enough to win the war. The Treaty of Versailles, signed on the 28th of June 1919, marked the end of World War I and imposed severe restrictions on Germany. The treaty's military clauses were particularly severe. The German army was limited to 100,000 troops, and the country was prohibited from maintaining an air force, submarines, and heavy artillery. These restrictions were intended to prevent Germany from becoming a military threat again, but they had unintended consequences. Adolf Hitler's rise to power in 1933 marked a turning point for Germany. Hitler capitalized on widespread discontent with the Weimar Republic and the injustices of the Treaty of Versailles. His regime promised to restore Germany's former glory, and a central component of this promise was the rearmament of the German military. One of Hitler's first actions as Chancellor was to begin a secret rearmament. The Nazi regime invested heavily in military infrastructure and production, secretly expanding the army and developing new weapons. They found ways to train personnel, test new equipment, and refine tactics in secret. These covert activities laid the groundwork for the Wehrmacht's future successes. The German army's success hinged on a tactic that seemed to defy the laws of conventional warfare. Imagine an entire country falling in less than a week. This wasn't science fiction. It was the reality faced by Poland in 1939. What made this lightning-fast conquest possible? The answer lies in a revolutionary approach to warfare that would change military strategy forever: Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg, German for lightning war, was a method of offensive warfare that set the Wehrmacht apart from its contemporary. This tactic combined three key elements: speed, surprise, and the use of combined arms. Unlike the static trench warfare of World War I, Blitzkrieg emphasized on rapid movement and the exploitation of weaknesses in the enemy line. At the heart of Blitzkrieg was the concept of breaking through enemy defenses and quickly advancing deep into their territory. This approach was inspired by old-school Prussian ideas of indirect warfare, focusing on exploiting weaknesses rather than engaging in head-on confrontation. The German army's ability to move swiftly and decisively allowed them to outmaneuver their opponents, often encircling large enemy formations before they could mount an effective defense. The invasion of Poland in 1939 served as a demonstration of Blitzkrieg's effectiveness. In a series of rapid encirclement battles, the Polish army was overwhelmed and defeated in just over a month. This campaign showcased the German army's ability to coordinate multiple advancing columns, each exploiting gaps in the enemy's defenses and driving deep into their rear areas. However, it was during the invasion of France in 1940 that Blitzkrieg truly proved its worth on the world stage. In a stunning display of military strength, German forces advanced over 120 miles in just 5 days, bypassing the supposedly impregnable Maginot Line and catching the Allies completely off guard. This rapid movement and exploitation of weaknesses in enemy lines led to the swift conquest of France that shocked the world and established Germany as the dominant military power in Europe. Central to the success of Blitzkrieg was the effective use of combined arms. The German army seamlessly integrated armored tanks, mechanized infantry, and air power to create a formidable fighting force. This one-two punch of ground and air assault overwhelmed enemy forces before they could effectively respond. The Luftwaffe played a crucial role in this strategy, providing close air support, bombing key objectives, and establishing local air superiority. Radio communications were another vital component of Blitzkrieg operation. These allowed commanders to coordinate advances in real time, keeping the enemy off balance and unable to predict where the next attack would come from. This level of coordination was unprecedented at the time and gave the German forces a significant advantage over their opponents. But the success of Blitzkrieg was not solely due to German innovation. The Allies' lack of preparedness and reliance on outdated strategies significantly contributed to the rapid German victories. While Germany had developed a dynamic, mobile approach to warfare, many Allied nations were still geared up to fight a trench warfare-style conflict reminiscent of World War I. This contrast in military thinking left the Allies ill-equipped to counter the speed and flexibility of Blitzkrieg tactics. A key aspect of Blitzkrieg that set it apart from traditional military doctrine was the flexibility in command structure. At the heart of the German army's command philosophy lay a concept known as Auftragstaktik, or mission-type tactic. Auftrags tactic was a fundamental shift in how military operations were conducted. Instead of issuing detailed orders for every aspect of an operation, German commanders would provide their subordinates with clear objectives and the resources to achieve them. This decentralized command approach stood in stark contrast to the more rigid Allied command structure, which often required decisions to be passed up and down the chain of command, resulting in slower response times. Another key aspect of the German command structure was the emphasis on leading from the front. This philosophy created strong troop cohesion and boosted morale, as soldiers saw their officers sharing the same risks and hardships. However, this approach came at a steep price. The high casualty rate among German officers was a direct result of this strategy, with over 16,000 officers killed in action by March 1942. The Oberkommando des Heers, or Army High Command, was responsible for executing military plans and had a reputation for thoroughness and professionalism. However, as the war progressed, tensions began to emerge within the German command structure. Hitler's increasing control over military operations, particularly through the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, created friction with traditional military leaders. Experienced commanders often found themselves sidelined in favor of Hitler's direct orders, undermining the effectiveness of the Wehrmacht's traditional command structure. The Führer principle, which asserted that the Führer's word is above all written law, exemplified this shift. Military strategy became increasingly subordinate to Hitler's personal directives, often at the expense of traditional military wisdom. This interference led to significant strategic blunders, such as the diversion of troops during critical moments of the campaign. The German army's success wasn't just about strategy, it was also about superior equipment and training. How did German soldiers gain such a fearsome reputation on the battlefield? The answer involves a combination of cutting-edge technology and grueling preparation that set them apart from their adversaries. At the core of the Wehrmacht's technological edge was their advanced communications equipment. German tanks were equipped with two-way radio, a feature that may seem unremarkable today, but was revolutionary at the time. This simple addition allowed for exceptional coordination on the battlefield, enabling German forces to respond quickly to changing situations and outmaneuver their opponent. But the Wehrmacht's technological superiority extended beyond communication. Their tanks and aircraft were often superior to those of their early war opponents. The German panzer divisions, with their combination of speed, firepower, and radio communication, were a formidable force that could rapidly exploit breakthroughs in enemy lines. This technological edge, combined with innovative tactics, allowed the German army to achieve stunning victories in the early years of the war. The German army's rigorous training programs were equally crucial to their success. German soldiers underwent an intensive 16-week basic training regimen that focused on physical fitness and basic command techniques. This was followed by specialized training in their respective branches, ensuring that each soldier was well prepared for their specific role in the Wehrmacht. The training of German officers was particularly demanding. It often required up to 20 months of instruction, including basic infantry schooling, field experience, and advanced specialized training. This comprehensive approach produced officers who could lead effectively in combat situations, making quick decisions and adapting to rapidly changing battlefield conditions. The emphasis on combined arms warfare was another key factor in the Wehrmacht's effectiveness. German forces were trained to operate as a cohesive unit, with infantry, tanks, and air support working in close coordination. This approach maximized the impact of each arm of the military and created a synergy that was often lacking in their opponent's forces. The combination of advanced technology and thorough training contributed significantly to the Wehrmacht's fearsome reputation. However, it's important to note that the Wehrmacht's technological edge was not absolute or permanent. As the war progressed, Allied powers began to catch up and even surpass German technology in many areas. The Soviet T-34 tank, for example, proved superior to many German tanks on the Eastern Front. Similarly, Allied air power eventually overwhelmed the Luftwaffe, particularly after the entry of the United States into the war in 1941. It provided the Allies with a significant boost in resources and manpower. The combined industrial and military capabilities of the United States, along with the persistent resistance from the Soviet Union and other Allied nations, eventually dissolved Germany's advantages. The decision to invade the Soviet Union in 1941 stretched German resources and led to a prolonged and grueling conflict on the Eastern Front. The harsh Russian winter, combined with determined Soviet resistance, contributed to significant German setbacks. The loss of experienced personnel on the Eastern Front gradually eroded the qualitative edge that the German army had enjoyed in the early years of the conflict. The German army's early success in World War II came from a combination of innovative tactics, advanced technology, and a flexible command structure. Blitzkrieg tactics, superior communications, and well-trained troops gave the Wehrmacht a significant edge over their opponent. However, these advantages began to wane as the war progressed. The vastness of the Soviet Union and the resilience of its forces presented challenges that the German military had not encountered in earlier campaigns. The Wehrmacht was forced into a defensive posture on multiple fronts, with the loss of momentum and resources leading to significant defeat. The initial advantages of speed and tactical surprise were increasingly neutralized by the Allies' ability to adapt and regroup. The rise and fall of the Wehrmacht highlights the importance of adaptability in warfare. As the Germans encountered more formidable resistance, their inability to adjust their strategies contributed to their eventual downfall. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this video informative. If you enjoyed learning about today's topic, make sure to check out our video, What Did German Generals Think of the Allied General? It's a fascinating look into the minds and military careers of some of World War II's most skilled commanders. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more World War II content. See you in the next one.